Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 1 and we're gonna do a presentation about philosophy of research. And me, Peggy Melati Sukma, as a moderator. And the first speaker is Yepuneli Mebrianti and the second speaker is Gabriela Adelia. The third speaker is Ananda Dwi Putri Chayasari. The fourth speaker is Ikramik Batullah and the fifth speaker is Dewi Citra. Also me, the sixth speaker is me, Peggy Melati Sukma. For the first speaker is Yepuneli Mebrianti. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you for the time. And here I would like to tell you the definition of research. The term search means to find out, to know, to learn, to explore, or to investigate. Research is basically an academic activity that involves certain techniques. Research consists in defining and redefining problems, formulating hypotheses or possible solutions to the research problem, collecting information or data, organizing and evaluating, reaching to some findings or conclusions on the basis of the organization, analysis and interpretation of the information collected. It also includes testing the findings with reference to the hypothesis. So, the definition of research according to New Standard Encyclopedia. Research is systematic investigation for the purpose of gaining new knowledge. In a broad sense, research is any study that leads to new knowledge for the person doing research. Next, for Francis Bacon, research is scientific planning. He says, research is a power of suspending judgment with patience, of meditating with pleasures, of asserting with cautions, of correcting with readiness, and of arranging thought with scrupulous plan. Thesis. Thesis is a product of research. And the definition of thesis, according to the Advanced Learners Oxford Dictionary 2009, a thesis is a statement or an opinion that is discussed in a logical way and presented with evidence in order to prove that it's true. For Webster 2 New College Dictionary, criticism means a critical comments or judgment, while research and critical judgment make a person a scholar. In our subject area of research is literature and language. We must know what we stand for, what we must perceive the relationship between literature and philosophy. The term philosophy means a study of the nature and meaning of the universe and of human life. I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Yepuneli Mebrianti. Now we are going to the next speaker, Gabriela Adelia. Please, time is yours.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to explain about literature, philosophy, and research. Literature is the body of written works of a language, period, and culture. Philosophy is the study of general and fundamental questions, such as those about reason, existence, knowledge, values, mind, and language. According to New Standard Encyclopedia, research is a systematic investigation for the purpose of gaining new knowledge. The relationship between literature and philosophy is as old as our culture. Religion is the manifestation of philosophy of life and the origin of all our literatures, Eastern and Western, is in religion. Vedic literature, epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata, tradition of saint poetry like Dohas of Kabir have demonstrated the relationship between literature and philosophy. The purpose of philosophy and that of literature are identical. Philosophy is defined as a study of the nature and meaning of the universe and of human life. At the higher level, literary work is an artistic attempt to perceive the underlying reality. The researchers must know the nature of literature, and the nature of literature involves, among other things, the unique relationship between literature and philosophy. Literature and philosophy are like sides of a coin. One surface they cannot be separated from the other. It's because literature and philosophy talk about the human life, but philosophy is more looking for the essence of human life, while literature is only talk about the general things and is not deeper than philosophy. I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Gabriela. Now we are going to the next speaker. Ananda Dwi, time is yours.
Okay, I'm going to explain about objective of research. So first is research adds to the existing stock of knowledge. The main purpose of research is to discover answer to question. It means if you get the knowledge, you will get the answer of any questions like what you define the objective or how to get the answer of the objective research. And the second is a well-known objective will be SMART. What is SMART? S is specific. It means you should to specify exactly what you will do in each phase of your study, like how, when, where, or and for what purpose. M is measurable, A is attainable, R is realistic, and T is time bound. And the third is the typical objective of research can be summarized as follows. Okay, let's move. There are 7 steps to achieve your objective. First is gain familiarity with a new phenomenon. The meaning of phenomenon is it's like see your target and what type of idea we are generating through the objective. The second is review and synthesize the existing knowledge. Third is investigate some existing situation or problem. And fourth is over solution to a problem. It means what type of solution you will get according to your problem. The fifth is explore and analyze more general issues. The sixth is construct and or create a new procedure of system. And the last one is generate new knowledge. Okay, I think that's all from me. I'm taking it back to moderator.
Okay, thank you, Ananda Dwi. Now we are going to the next speaker, Ikram Iqbatullah. Please, time is yours.
Okay, now I will explain about research and development. So definition, research and development is currently one of the most widely used research types. Research development is one of type of research that can be a link or bigger gap between basic research with applied research. Research and development is often defined as a process or steps to develop a new product or product that already exists. So the part B, research development objectives. The purpose of the development study usually contains 2 information. The first is the problem to be solved, and the second is the specification of the learning model, problem, or device to be generated to solve the problem. According to Acker, 1099, the purpose of special development research in education is differentiated based on the development of curriculum, technology, and media, lesson and instruction, and didactic teacher education. The first is in the curriculum section, the second is in the technology and media, the third is in the lesson and instruction lesson, the fourth is in the teacher education and didactic section. Part C, characteristic and motives research development. The research development motive as the Kirken-Ecker, among others. The first is the basic motive is that research is mostly done in a traditional way, such as experiment, surveys, correlation, and another. The second is a very complex test of policy change in the world of education, so a more evolutionary. The third is educational research in generally mostly leads to a hesitant reputation due to the absence of proof of relevance. Part D, steps and research development methods in general. The step of research and development include, the first is potential and problems, the second is gathering information, the third is product design, the fourth is design validation, fifth is design repair, the sixth is product trial, seventh product revision, eighth use trial, ninth advanced product revision, and the 10th mass product making. So the next is I will explain about research and global competition. Something is wrong somewhere and research is required to find out what is wrong where. This seems to be the context of the relationship between research and globalization. So when we research about something, generally in global competition, we can know what's wrong in another world because we research about that. It is not all enough to undertake and continue research only in the field of science and technology. Research in social science and humanities is also equally necessary. The sooner we release it, the better. The minor and major research projects funded by the UGI other against need to be meaningful, relevant, and competitive in the context of globalization. That doesn't mean that research for the sake of knowledge itself is less important. It only means that we should be aware of the ground realities of our national priorities while roaming in our traditional 4 towers. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ikram Iqbatullah. Now we are going to the next speaker, Dewi Chitra. Please, time is yours.
Okay, I will explain about a type of research. Research has been classified in various ways. A very broad classification is pure research and applied research. It is also called basic and applied research. Another way of classification is to classify research according to the three main streams of knowledge. The first is research in sciences, the second is research in social sciences, and the third is research in humanities. Scientific research requires laboratories. Research in social sciences requires social contact and social institution, but literary research requires libraries as their essential tools. Literary research is generally classified into four major parts. The first is bibliographical or textual research. It is necessary to know the meaning of the term bibliography. An appropriate study of a literary work or that of an author is possible when the text under discussion is clearly valid or authentic and the authorship is also beyond any doubt. And the second is biographical research. This type of study refers the autobiographical element in works of art. Research is conducted here to explain, interpret, and evaluate some disputable issues in a work of art. And the third is theoretical research. Theoretical research is concerned with theories of literature and literary criticism. There are various ways of analyzing and fourth is interpretive research often tends to be applied research. A text or an author is studied here with reference to certain theory of literature or literary criticism. That means in the interpretive research, a theory is applied to a text. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dewi Chitra. Now we are going to the next material. And now we are going to talking about the qualities of good research. Research is essentially a product of intelligence and workmanship. A worker should have the qualities which his work demands. The principle of job requirement is very significant in any field. The question of the qualities of a good researcher matter much more to a research guide than to the researcher himself. The researcher and the guide wish the exercise to be fruitful, rewarding, and meaningful. They have considered the qualities of a good researcher at the initial stage. And also the objectives of the research should be clearly defined, because if there's no clearly research, absolutely there's no clearly good research. We are going to the next slide. Here are the points of qualities of good research. We have 10 points here, and I'll explain one by one. The first is good reader. Good reading requires several skills. Reading between the lines, it's the first requirement. And research students should know that everything in print is not true. So they must be able to read with a sense of relevance and fidelity. And good reading requires a skill of judging the printed matter quickly, because it helps the researcher while preparing bibliography and subject notes. Good reading requires the knowledge of punctuation marks, sentence structure, literary device like image, metaphor, simile, symbol, irony, humor, satire, and etc. Good reading is a way to establish meaningful dialogue with the writer through his words. The second point is research temperament. This point is about an extrovert person who is easily and quickly carried away or moved by emotions, feelings, and instincts, find it rather difficult to complete its thesis rating within the normal span of time. Constant dialogue with the self, in fact, in a kind of monologue, is the soul of research temperament. And the third point is a capacity and willingness for hard work. Well, what we call hard work is actually the clerical work. In a thesis, it is required every now and then, and we have data collection, taking down the notes, preparing the draft, preparing the bibliography, documentation and references, making the revisions, redrafting and correction, proofreading and writing itself. There's a lot of hard work required to communicate the intellectual and the creative in the thesis. The fourth point is motivation. Research work cannot be carried out up to its intended end in a short span of time, and for such a long sustenance, the researcher needs a strong motivation. The psychology one of the motivation is really a mysterious thing. Ambition is the one of the strong motivation, though. There are a number of agents that provide the motivation, which are a good teacher, a rival, ideal person, good salary promise, aspiration for a position, a person who is dearer and nearer, and thirst for knowledge and scholarship. The five point is intellectual discipline. Discipline is the backbone of research, a guard of honor given by some soldiers to their commanding officer, or our Republic Day parade are the expression of discipline. As in the Republic Day parade, research requires a predetermined frameworks. In research, nothing is abrupt or sudden, nothing like spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. And the next point is imagination. It is really difficult to separate intellect from imagination. Imagination in practical matters, imagination controlled by reason can be called intellect. It may be pure imagination and intuition that is essential in poetry, but even in poetry, they are controlled by a certain amount of logic and reason. So that's why imagination controlled by reason can be called intellect. The next point is sense of relevance. Here we have education and intelligence means sense of relevance. In research, the student should know what is relevant for their purpose and what is irrelevant. This quality of mind keeps the irrelevant matter out of consideration and saves time, energy, and sometimes money of researcher. In research, such attractive comments and expression, if not relevant to our purpose, we avoid it. In research, sense of relevance is necessary for, we have 5 points here. And if the findings and the hypothesis have no logical connection, the entire exercise becomes futile. And now we have scientific attitude. The nature of research is basically scientific. It is a systematic and well-planned study. It is necessary for research students to judge the data or the information available to them, or the information made available to them. They may start with certain hypotheses, but the investigation may reveal something otherwise. Now we are moving to the next point. It's about language skills. Language is the medium of research, and research in literature and language requires higher proficiency in the language concerned. There are two basic factors involved here. First is the understanding of the literature and language, and the second is drafting the research thesis. Literature is an expression that is subtle, implied, symbolic, connotative, ironic, and often full of satire and humor. Next, we have courage. Here we have 3 points. The first is his research may lead him to some conclusions or findings that may not match his expectation. Here he needs moral courage to accept the findings. And the second is it may be necessary for him to reveal certain drawbacks of his favorite author or of some other person of high esteem, position of or respect. It is here the researcher may find himself in two minds. In such a context, he should have the courage to present the truth. It is here the researcher may find himself in two minds. Okay, we are going to the third point. It is likely that his views when his research is published may be criticized by others. At this point, he should have the courage to make suitable amendments in his views if it is necessary in the light of the criticism. That's all for That's all from all. Hope you guys enjoyed the presentation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.